Arriving back at the Shibuya precinct, Kano hurried to the interrogation room. With the investigation currently on hold, he knew that taking any official action would be tricky. If he was going to break through this stalemate, he was going to need Tateno's help. The abduction, the ransom, the Attache case relay, Maria's release, and then Tanaka's death. Maybe Tateno would be able to figure out how all these elements were related. But first, Kano needed to check something for himself. Tateno would never have let Al-Karawan go free. Kano needed the prisoner to set the record straight. Al-Karawan sat in the precinct interrogation room, looking brazen and cocksure. One glance at his face and Kano was reminded of what had happened on Sasayama. Fresh anger smoldered at the edges of his mind. There were two detectives already in the room. Seems he wasn't made private to the details, one of them told Kano. Sounds like they were following orders, carrying that Attache case around, the other added. Kano sat down across from Al-Karawan. There's something I'd like to ask you, he said. We're just paid to do a job. I don't know anything more than that. His Japanese was imperfect, but he understood the language well enough. Tell me, how did you manage to escape from Detective Tateno? Escape? I didn't. A faint smile came to Karawan's lips. He let me go free. Liar! Detective Tateno would never do that! Kano slammed the desk with his fist. I didn't have handcuffs on, did I? He took them off for me. This had to be a lie. It's like there weren't other ways to remove a pair of handcuffs. Until he took off the handcuffs, Karawan continued to point his gun at me. Cut the crap! Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. But Karawan went on, unperturbed. He kept the gun pointed at me, but he didn't pull the trigger, so that's when I ran. Why did Detective Tateno want to shoot you? Because I saw him. Saw him? Saw him do what? Let me tell you something interesting, Karawan said sardonically. There was that girl who was carrying the ransom, right? Kano pictured Hitomi standing anxiously beside the statue of Ichiko. That guy Tateno was trying to kill her. In a fit of rage, Kano drove his fist into Karawan's face. His colleagues rushed to interpose themselves. Kano, come down! Knocked to the floor, Karawan gingerly fingered his split lip. And after I gave you such good info too, he grumbled. Detective Tateno was assigned to protect Hitomi Osawa, Kano shouted. You can't expect me to believe you're rubbish. He lunged around the table, ready to throw another punch, but his fellow detectives held him back. Karawan looked away indifferently. It's your Detective Tateno you should be arresting, not me. That girl's going to get killed. You just step in line, pal, Kano bellowed. Kano, his colleague shouted. You're the one who needs to step in line. Go and cool off for a bit. Expelled in the interrogation room, Kano immediately pulled out his cell phone and called Tateno's number. Please pick up. He clutched his cell phone tight, spitting under his breath. But Tateno didn't answer. Kano sat down in a chair in the hallway in a bit of a daze. He found himself holding the presents that Sayama had gotten for his wife. I have to do something. I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. His restlessness gnawed at him like a rabid animal. Hey, Kano! He looked up to see Kuze standing beside him, his expression grave. I have an update on Sasayama, Director began. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. Seems the knife went in deep enough to do some organ damage. He's in critical condition. I see. Kano bit his lip hard. His handkerchief red with Sasayama's blood clung to the wrapping paper of Sasayama's present. Kano peeled it away carefully so as not to tear the paper beneath. What's that? Asked Kuze. Sayama had me hold on to this firm. It's a present for his wife. Ah, I see. Sorry, Director Kuze, for ignoring your orders. Kano's eyes remained fixed on the gift as he spoke. When you get down to it, none of this would have happened if it weren't for me. Some kind of punishment was surely headed his way for acting low as he did. He probably wasn't getting out of this one with a simple written apology. When public servants are negligent in their duties or violate regulations, they can be punished with a warning, a formal reprimand, reduction in pay, suspension, or dismissal. In case of a warning, in addition to the remonstration from a direct supervisor, the individual must also submit a formal letter explaining the relevant details and assuring that it won't happen again. Kuze calmly shook his head. What happened to Tsushima isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself, he said. As far as this case goes, I've been given quite the runaround myself. There's a rare note on vulnerability in Kuze's voice. The higher-ups have barely let that information trickle my way, but they're still ordering me around non-stop. It's a real pain in the ass. Kaze fell silent, ruminating. Quiet lingered between the two men for several months before he abruptly spoke again. Alright, I'd like to get your opinion on something. So, Mamoru Tanaka, who we found in the minivan, you know? What you think? Should we oughta maybe release his name to the media? Kuze had slipped into his child's register. He was clearly exhausted. After dealing with the kidnappers' baffling actions and too much meddling from the higher-ups, even a veteran like Kuze is just beat. That's not the only reason for his exhaustion. Kuze is a brother, 6 years his senior, who despite being anomaly mature refused to get a real job and shows no inclination to settle down with the family. He walks around town day after day dressed like a hippie and treating passersby to songs he's written. Kuze has been worrying about his shitless brother for years now. The guy's become a chronic source of consternation. Kano was thrown by their question. It was a rare thing for the director to seek an opinion from a mere junior detective. Feels like there's something not too normal about one of Kenji Osawa's subordinates dying, Kuze went on. Kano had the same thought. This felt too intentional to be a coincidence. So here's the question. Should I get the media involved and try to rush for a resolution, or should I be more cautious? What would you do? By releasing the name, Kano asked? That wasn't such a simple thing to answer. There's so many factors to consider. A tired smile came to Kuze's face. Don't think about it so hard. It's just so I have a point of reference. Tell me what your gut says. I think releasing the name should be alright. I think we should hold back for now. I can't make that decision sure. I think I'd rather hold off. I think we should hold back for now. Kuze rumbled. You still don't know if Mamoru Tanaka was murdered or if he committed suicide, Kano pointed out. We should at least wait until we know that much. This case had so many loose ends that could lead in dangerous directions. It would pay to be as prudent as possible. Kuze paused for a moment and thought, then nodded. I see what you mean. Alright then. Then without another word, he headed back toward the conference room. On TV, the governor's press conference was still going on. She requested that each of the railroad companies, starting with JR, stop running trains through Shibuya Station until further notice. As far as the roads go, Road 246 has already been closed to traffic. The executive looked pale as he spoke to the crowd. Is there any possibility of a bioterrorist attack? What about the people who are still in Shibuya? The reporters unleashed a barrage of questions. The governor's face scrunched up. As I've already made clear, this is not a complete blockade. Because modern Japan does not have a system for enacting martial law, there are a few ways that the government could effectively quarantine Shibuya. In case of a potential viral infection, the infectious disease law allows for the city to be partitioned into areas of restricted movement. If the authorities do not want to acknowledge the existence of the top-secret UO virus, however, taking such an action would be rather tricky legally. So then stop anyone from leaving Shibuya on foot. Isn't what you're describing de facto martial law? Spat one reporter. Of course not, the governor snapped. You should be well aware that martial law is illegal. I couldn't declare it even if I wanted to. You wanted to? So it's a bioterrorist issue then. I never said anything of the sort. The press conference was devolving into chaos. Kano wasn't surprised given the circumstances. Still, everyone was doing their best insofar as they knew how. So why not me, Kano thought. It doesn't matter what I do. I just want to be doing something. Just letting time tick by without trying to take action is more than he could bear. Kano began to worry about Rumi and decided to give her a call. He was worried about Tsushima and decided to visit him in the hospital. Thought about Tsushima's wife and decided to get in touch with her. All three choices are fucking valid. Fuck. Can't worry about Rumi and decided to give her a call. The phone rang several times before it went to voicemail. The fact that she hadn't picked up made Kano all the more anxious. He was still staring at his phone when he got a call of his own. When he peered at the incoming call display, his heart nearly stopped. There was Tateno's name. Kano quickly pressed the button to accept the call. Tateno! Tateno, is this you? There was a whole mountain of things Kano wanted to ask. Just what had Tateno been doing this whole time? Why had he let Kano go free? What had happened to Hitomi? While he was trying to decide what question to pose first, Tateno spoke. I've secured Maria Osawa. What? The word came out as startled gasp. Detective Tateno, you have to bring her here ASAP. Right now, she's... Tateno cut him off. You need to bring Itomi Osawa to my location at once. Itomi? Osawa? Yes, I heard over the wireless that the man from the U.S. Embassy had her in custody. Kano hadn't been listening to the most recent wireless traffic. Apparently Stanley had managed to find Itomi. What was the Tateno getting at here? Wait, hold on. What for? I mean, why do you need me to bring Itomi Osawa to you? There's no reply. Detective Tateno, answer me, please. Tateno replied as if he hadn't heard Kano's questions. There's an office building in Nanpeda called South Hill. I'll be waiting for you on the rooftop. If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria. Sheesh. With that grisly warning, he hung up. Kano's hand went limp, his phone slipped from his grasp and fell to the floor. Kano went to South Hill and Nanpedai alone. The building takes its name from a rough translation of Nanpedai, the name of the area where it is located. The official name is South Hill Building, but since this is awkward to say, it's certainly shortened. I guess. He hadn't brought Itomi as Tateno had demanded nor had he reported the situation to Kuze. First, he wanted to meet with Tateno and find out what was going on. He took the elevator to the 8th floor. After that, he had to take the stairs to the rooftop. As he made his way up the steps, he tried to imagine what Tateno might want with Itomi. He hadn't noticed anything suspicious about the senior detective in the lead up to the stakeout at the Scramble. Tateno had seemed like the same name Kano had always revered. So why was he doing this? Kano couldn't think of a reason. Reaching the top of the staircase, he at last stepped out onto the open roof. Time for half-baked conjecture was past. Kano would lay his doubts at Tateno's feet. And soon enough, everything would become clear. Inwardly, Kano did his best to convince himself of that. A warm breeze blew against his cheek. He took a look around, but saw no sign of Tateno. Tateno, where are you? Getting no response, he began to walk around the rooftop, calling out several more times. It's Kano, come as you asked. Where's Itomi Osawa? Kano whirled around when he heard the voice behind him. Tateno stepped into view from behind a water tank. He led with him a young woman bound and blindfolded. Why didn't you bring her? He growled. Kano stared in shock. Detective Tateno, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? That's just from the start, Jesus. Tateno responded by removing the young woman's blindfold. The blindfold removed, Maria slowly opened her eyes. And as she gazed past Kano, a panicked look crossed her face. Ah! Shot out her arm to point. What the fuck? Kano whirled around in surprise. There was a man on the roof of the building across the way. He looked like he was getting ready to jump. My gosh, Mr. Cow. Why now? Kano thought to himself. He couldn't just stand idly by while someone committed suicide. He felt a pang of disgust when he saw Tateno taking the situation with an indifferent glance, making no move to help. Tateno, I'll be right back, Kano exclaimed. We can finish this after. Without waiting for an answer, he raced to the other building. Jesus Christ. When he got to the second rooftop, the man was still there, staring down at the ground below. Don't do anything rash, Kano warned, hurrying toward him. When the man gave no response, though, Kano quickly halted. The stranger was still several meters away. Kano braced himself, ready to lunge for the man if necessary. Let's not be hasty. Nobody's going to be happy if you jump. Still the man said nothing, simply gazing out the sky. Surely he could hear Kano now. The detective continued, keeping his voice low and conversational. Got a coworker. He's one of the most absurdly devoted husbands you could meet. All he does is brag about his wife. The man continued to ignore him. He was stabbed in the belly earlier today. He's in the hospital right now on death's door. He was happy, but now his life might be snatched away from him anyway. Still the man appeared unmoved. It was as if the words weren't even reaching him. Don't you think it's a waste to just go and throw your own life away? Kano waited for the man to respond. The stranger took a purposeful stride away from the fence toward the roof's edge. Stop! Don't do it! The man eventually stepped out toward empty air. No! Kano sprang forward, somehow managing to grab hold of the stranger's wrist. Is he even on the edge? He yanked the man back from the edge, getting only a blank stare in response. Don't go wasting your life like this. Ordinarily, Kano would have stayed and talked until he was sure the guy's death wish had passed. But there wasn't time for that right now. Maria was in just as much danger at that very moment. Whipping out his handcuffs, he shackled the man to the fence. What? I promise to come back. Please just stay alive for a few minutes longer, okay? Kano left the man staring in bewilderment and raced back to the South Hill building. My gosh. When he got back to the roof, no one was there. Kano immediately tried to call Tateno on his cell, but the call didn't go through. Tateno must have powered off his phone. Damn it! Where did you go, detective? He needed to hear what Tateno had to say. He still had no idea what was really going on, what the grim truth might be. It seemed he had just lost his chance to find out. In desperation, Kano rushed from the building. When his frantic search of the area, he saw no sign of either Tateno or Maria. Later, a precinct-wide manhunt failed to discover where the two had gone. From that day forward, Kano was empty inside, carrying out his duties as a detective with bleak detachment. Bad end. Number 53, lost sight of Maria and Tateno. When Kano caught sight of a man about to commit suicide, it was Minorukawa. He could ignore the situation and impulsively rushed to the rescue, but lost track of Tateno and Maria's result. If Minorukawa hadn't turned up on that rooftop, Kano would have been able to focus on his primary mission. Oh boy.